So Gina, what is a polygraph test and what is it used for?
Well, a polygraph test measures the body's involuntary responses to an examiner's question in order to decipher whether the participant is lying or telling the truth.
Okay.
It measures three of the body's physiological systems, including the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, and the sweat gland system.
Interesting.
Well, the belief behind a polygraph test is that when you are telling the truth, your body will produce a different response than when you are telling a lie.
Okay.
Polygraph tests are normally used in law enforcement to see whether people they are questioning are telling a lie or if they're telling the truth. So Elise, tell me a little bit about the history of the polygraph test.
Well, it was invented in 1921 by a medical student at the University of California at Berkeley, John Larson, with the help of a police officer of Berkeley.
So Kim, what are some statistics about the validity of polygraph tests?
Well, despite the claims of 90% of polygraph tests being valid, there's actually been no evidence proven that polygraph tests are effective.
So Gina, how is the test conducted?
Well, first, the tester talks to the participant about what the polygraph is, explains to them what it is, and tells them that it can detect lies. And then they perform a STEM test in which the tester asks the participant to deliberately lie so that they can form some sort of baseline for later in the testing.
They can be stone cold and lie to you right in your face, but yet their brain tells the truth.
In criminal cases, guilty subjects are more likely to become anxious and more aroused during the polygraph test because they know that they have committed a crime. Unlike people who have not committed a crime and who are innocent, hooked up to a polygraph machine because they get more anxious during the polygraph test than the guilty party because they haven't done anything, but they're being hooked up to a machine that could potentially expose a lie that's not true, which can cause them harm into possibly being charged for a crime they did not commit. So, Gina, after that, what comes next?
Well, this is when the actual test starts. The tester will ask the participant some irrelevant questions just to get more of a baseline on what happens, what the participant's responses are when they're lying and when they're telling the truth. And then the tester will ask more relevant questions about what they're actually trying to
solve a case.
Yeah, if they're trying to solve a case or if they're trying to see what the participant is actually lying about. So Kim, what are some statistics about the validity of polygraph tests?
Well, despite the claims of 90% of polygraph tests being valid, there's actually been no evidence proven that polygraph tests are effective.
Lie detector. There's no such device. If that was the case, we could close all the courts, probably fire all the attorneys, and just give a lie detector. It's a casual social term that's used, but it doesn't have any scientific basis.
So Gina, what are some tactics people use to help pass the polygraph test?
Well, there is a man who teaches lessons on how to pass the test, and he says that as long as you get a good night's sleep and are nice to the experimenter, if you maintain your calm during the test and have some sort of confidence going into it, then you will generally pass the test.
So Gina, why do they call a polygraph test a placebo?
So there's this theory that says that when the people that are taking the test, when they're asked questions that they know that they have to lie to, they think that the test can actually detect when they're lying. So because of this, they get more anxious and their heart rate goes up and they start to perspirate more and their breathing increases. So it actually shows up on the test that they're lying because they are anxious because they have told a lie.
What we do have is the technology to determine with a high degree of probability truth from deception by monitoring the various body responses to a series of questions that have to be carefully crafted.
We're going to ask you questions that we know are true. Are you sitting down now? And then we're going to ask you questions that we don't know. And we're going to look to see how you react and how much energy your brain calls for. When you tell the truth, you use your memory. When you lie, you must use your imagination.
So, what are some ways that we can improve the polygraph test?
Well, not all human responses measured by the polygraph test are ones that are directly related to lying. Some of these are just fear, anxiety, nervousness in the situation because the polygraph test makes a lot of people uncomfortable because their lies are being detected.
Mm-hmm. So, what could we do to...
We can try to eliminate as many extraneous variables as we can and have a more controlled environment when taking the polygraph test.
So how can we help with the accuracy of the polygraph test?
We can try and improve this by eliminating all extraneous variables in the environment and make sure the responses given to the tester are only related to deception.
And not like fear or anxiety or anything.
Of course, the more primitive ones is holding your breath or altering your breath patterns.
People try biting the inside of their gums, biting their lips, to basically try to cause reactions on certain questions to deceive the polygraph instrument. It's very difficult to get it to look natural.
Just to read about the countermeasures and then have a naive subject practice them during a polygraph test usually is ineffective.
If you haven't sat in front of a polygraph machine and tried to make these reactions look natural, you're making the needles fly off the charts. That's in itself a sign of deception. There's only one reason to try to beat a polygraph test. You're lying.